Hey guys, it's your girl Carrie. Welcome back to my channel. We are back with another video today on our dip powder help series, and we are talking all about clear dip powder. So if you're struggling with your clear dip powder, you got spotty nails, you got streaky nails, you got cloudy nails, and basically your clear dip powder is just ruining the look of your mani, well then stick around, I got some help for you. We're getting into it. Okay guys, so if you're having trouble getting your clear dip powder to behave, then you're definitely not alone. This is something that I still see talked about very often on social media and in Facebook forums. People asking how to get that clear dip powder to actually look clear. So if you take a look at the swatch stick we have here on the left, this may be what you're dealing with, and what we're trying to do is get all those problems cleared up and make your nails look more like the swatch on the right. So both of these do have clear dip powder over them. The difference is just one of them is done correctly and one of them is not. Both of these swatch sticks were done with my Ride or Die clear dip powder, and that is my Skyline Soapworks crystal clear dip powder, and I've been using it for over a year and it has never failed me. But I intentionally used it on both the do and the don't side because I wanted to show you that even the best clear dip powder can cause cloudy, spotty nails if not done correctly. And I use the term correctly loosely, of course. This is just how I have found to best use clear dip powder. These are the tips and tricks that I'm going to share with you from my own experiences. You may have other ways that you like to apply your clear dip powder, and that's fine. I just want to show you that some of the common mistakes that you may be making could be the cause of why you're getting these spotty, cloudy nails, and I can help you clear those up. So like I said, this one is just my go-to. I use it for almost every mani, and that's just because it's been reliable for me for so long. But I actually wanted to show you a few other swatches of some clear dip powder under the exact same conditions to show you something. What I have here are 5 swatches of the clears I currently have in my collection, and I'm not even going to tell you which one because you can see it doesn't really matter. They are all crystal clear. So I've got some GGs, I've got Southern Posh, I've got my Skyline, I've got Sparkle & Co, and I've got Ritzy, and all of these made perfectly clear swatches here. So I guess what I'm saying is, even though Skyline Soapworks is my Ride or Die, don't think that that's the only clear dip powder that you can use. Obviously these other ones work just as well, and that's because I applied them with the same techniques that I use with my Skyline. So if you're having spotty, cloudy nails, don't give up on your clear dip powder just yet. It might just mean you need to tweak your technique. Now if you do that and you still have cloudy nails, well then maybe it is your powder. But I just wanted to show you this, that really most clear dip powders are created equal, and you just need to apply them in a certain manner to get them to stay clear. Having said that, there is one that I don't have here because I did declutter it in my collection, and that is iGel Beauty's Clear. And this is one of those that people either love it or hate it. All I can tell you is that I had a lot of trouble off and on with it, and I finally just gave up on it. And you know, it could be I just had a bad jar, or it could be, you know, that I wasn't doing exactly what it wanted me to do, but it was just too much work, and it just felt like every time I used it I was getting a different result, and I just didn't like the consistency of it. And that's really saying something, guys, because you know I've talked up and down on my channel about all the billions of products that iGel makes that I love, but that's just one that I just don't get along with. But again, that's just my experience. Alright, so like I said, the do and the don't swatch sticks that I have done here were both done with my Skyline Soapworks clear. So again, that was just to show you that even the best clears under the wrong circumstances can create a mess. So I want to show you each of these a little bit up closely and talk about what we did that made one very different from the other. So I'm just going to kind of talk you through it first, but then I will actually demo the do side with my own mani. Okay, so there are several key factors that led to this don't swatch looking like the hot mess that it is, and I'm going to try to give these to you in order. So the first thing that I did not do here is I did not stir my clear dip powder. So that was mistake number one, because just like any other dip powder, they like to settle, the contents like to settle, and sometimes they like to stick together, so you always want to stir them before you start. The second problem here was that I did not put a thick enough dip base coat before dipping it into the clear. And then I followed that up with problem number 3, and that was double dipping into the clear dip powder. Some of you might be questioning me on that right now because you've seen some other major influencers double dip, and just hold on to that thought. I'll get back to that in a bit. And then the next issue I had is I did not go over this after it was dry with a stiff brush to get off the excess clear. And I did want to add on one bonus tip that I did not demonstrate on this swatch stick, but I will talk you through later in the mani, and that is not waiting long enough for the clear layer to dry before going in with a scrubby brush and pulling up some of that clear and creating craters. So all those things contributed to this nail looking cloudy and spotty and just not cute. And believe me, I had more than my fair share of sets like this at the beginning of dipping, so we've all been there. Everybody at some point has had some spotty, cloudy looking nails, and for me it was always over the glitters, and that really just dulled the shine of it. So I'm going to talk to you about the do side so you can kind of see some things that might help you avoid that. Alright, so exact same clear dip powder, completely different technique, so let me talk you through this. Basically what I said on the don't side, I did the exact opposite of. So the very first thing I did before dipping this in clear was I stirred it up really well to make sure that everything was broken up. I then put a sufficient layer, not too thick, but thick enough layer of dip base before dipping into the clear, and then I only dipped one time into that clear dip powder. I then waited a sufficient amount of time to make sure that the clear dip powder was dry, and then took a stiff brush and scrubbed off the excess before activating. And all that led to this nice crystal clear looking swatch. You can see there's not a spot in sight, and it looks nice and clear. Sounds simple enough, but I know a lot of you guys are like me and it helps for you to actually see the whole process in action, so I'm going to demo that for you. But I think just seeing the side by side really helps you see the difference between using the proper techniques and not. Alright, so for the mani day, we're going to be doing a very simple mani, just basic dipping, and we're going to use a solid and a glitter so you can kind of see both. But these are two powders from some recent sub bags that I just hadn't used yet, and I thought they would be perfect for that because you can see how deep this color is. So any kind of spotting or cloudiness that would happen would obviously stand out, so you'll be able to see just how clear the nails are when we're done. And I wanted to also use this glitter because I do think it helps to see it over a glitter as well, and plus I just like a little sparkle in my manis, what can I say? Just a quick update on my jelly tips if you're curious. We are now past week 3. I went ahead and did a quick builder gel fill with these just to kind of smooth out the base. I did have a little bit of growth there that I kind of wanted to cover as well, so not a whole lot, but I figured it was a good time to go ahead and try to do a little fill. So I just used a sheer pink builder gel, so you can see it didn't give me a lot of color, but it just kind of gave me a little bit of opacity and smooth things over again so that I'm ready to keep going. So far everything's going really well with these jelly tips. If you missed my video on the first time we're trying jelly tips, I'll have it linked for you in the cards, but you know, this is somebody who's only done this once, and for me to be going in 3 weeks with 0 lifting is fantastic and very encouraging. Alright, so because this video is really more about the clear than the dipping itself, I will leave some of the dipping in here, but I will speed through it just a bit because I want to get to the clear so we can actually really thoroughly cover that with the mani. So I'm going to back off for just a bit and let you watch this, and then I'll jump back in here in a bit.
Do you ever call back? Do you ever pick up on that phone? Stop pretending I don't know you're home. I guess not. Do you ever respond? Explain it all again. Tell me why you don't wanna be friends. I guess not.
I just for some reason wanted to show you guys this. This is why I love this little tabletop vacuum. I have it linked down below. But I love that thing because if I spill a little powder like that and the type A in me is like, I gotta clean that up, I just get that little vacuum, boom, 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 and we're back to the mani. Alright, so this is 3 dips of that gorgeous deep berry color called Parade Around, and I'm going to go ahead and leave it here and move on to the glitter. I will be clear encapsulating these just to show you, but I'm going to actually save that for the end. We're going to clear encapsulate everything at once. So let's go ahead and jump into this glitter, and I just have to say that one thing Sparkle & Co does really well is dip powders with flakes in them. Although, to be honest with you, like, they go everywhere, like, actually everywhere. Like, I'm pretty sure I eat some of these every time I do a mani with their flakies. But they're so beautiful, and this glitter is just no exception. Aren't these colors just to die for? I mean, I know this is not a spring look, but I'm kind of living for it anyway. Alright, so we're ready to start in with our clear here. So I did just want to mention really quickly that if I was not doing this particular video, I would not have clear encapsulated this solid. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as we do the actual dipping, but if I do have a solid that I want to clear encapsulate, I will typically go ahead and do that first and then activate that and then do my glitter, just so I don't have to worry about any little bits of glitter sticking to it. But I wanted to do it all at once here for this video, so just letting you know that that's what I would normally do. So I'm starting here with my jar of clear that I use for my solids, and I'm going to do exactly what I said I was going to do. I'm going to start here by stirring this powder up nice and good to break up anything that might possibly have clung together. Alright, so I'm hoping you're going to be able to see by the way I'm applying this on this dark color just how much dip base I'm using. But if you need to have more than just a visual reference, I would say make it just slightly thicker than what you're doing for your regular base layers. What you're trying to do is make sure that you have more base than you have clear powder, because you want to be able to absorb all the clear powder that gets on the nail with the base. So you want to have slightly bigger ratio of base to the powder. So that's why I say make it just a hair thicker, just to make sure that it absorbs everything. And then dip once. If you've got a pretty good ratio, once you pull it out of the jar, you see how mine is already starting to look a little wet here. It's already starting to absorb the powder. It's almost clear by the time it starts to dry. It's almost completely clear, and you can't even tell that I dipped it in clear. That's how you know you got a pretty good ratio of your dip base to your clear powder. If yours doesn't start to get this wet look right after you dip, then you either didn't put enough base, or you left it too long in the clear powder, or you double dipped. And that's where you start to get that fuzzy white look that kind of hangs around for a while. Alright, so while I dip out these other two solid fingers in the clear dip in the exact same process, I just want to talk to you a little bit about why I no longer encapsulate every solid with clear powder. Now, you're going to see some other folks on social media that say they clear encapsulate everything, and I'm definitely not saying that's wrong, not at all. That is definitely one option. The reason why I no longer do that is because I find that if I'm adding clear to a layer of solid that doesn't need it, all I'm doing is just creating more bulk that I'm going to end up filing off anyway. Now, having said that, I've had enough experience with not encapsulating solid nails with clear to know that there are certain colors that just do not do well without clear encapsulation. I find that with some shades of pink, some neutrals, and some pastels, you're more likely to have that kind of marbled look if you don't encapsulate them in clear and then you go to buff them. So that's just something I have learned through experience. So a lot of times with those colors, I will go ahead and clear encapsulate if I'm not sure if it's going to do that to me. That way I don't have to worry about it. But for any other colors that I don't think are going to do that, I just skip the clear encapsulation altogether. So for this particular mani, I would not have clear encapsulated this color, but because the whole point of covering this video is to show the clear, I went ahead and did that. But I just wanted you to understand why I don't. You can choose to do that however you like. You can choose to clear encapsulate everything or not. I just want you to understand that you have several options and you just choose whatever works for you. And just for me, I just find that I don't need to do that for every color. I also want to address the whole double dipping in the clear thing, because I know there are some other nail artists that do double dip in clear dip powder. And again, that's not to say that this is the right way and their way is incorrect. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just telling you that from my experience, when I do that, I am more prone to having cloudiness and speckles in my clear dip. That's just been my experience. If you're double dipping and it's not doing that to you, then keep doing that. I'm definitely not saying that it's wrong. I just want you to understand where the potential for problems can occur, and I just find for me personally, if I double dip, then I will likely have some issues with clear encapsulation. Alright, so for the sake of timing of this video, I did go and skip ahead a couple minutes. These have already been drying for a couple minutes, and you can see I'm gently tapping these nails to make sure that they're no longer tacky before I go in with my stiff brush to scrub it off. If you go in while they're still tacky, this is where you're going to end up with those craters in your clear dip powder because you scrubbed it so hard that you actually pulled up some of the clear dip that was not fully dry. And that, like I said, will lead to spotting and cloudiness. So, you know, err on the side of caution, wait a little bit longer than you normally would before you go in with this scrubby brush, and make sure you give it a good scrub. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and activate these solid nails, just like I said, so I don't have to worry about the glitter sticking in it, although probably I've already risked that by not doing this earlier. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and activate these now before I get into clear dipping the glitter nails. Alright, we're going to repeat the exact same steps with the glitter nails, and you can see I have a separate jar of clear with a G on top, and guess what that stands for? Yep, it stands for glitter. Now it may seem extravagant to have two full-size jars, one just for glitter and one for solids. If you don't want to have full-size jars, then I would say just get a separate container to put your glitter clear in. You're going to need separate containers, just trust me. Because if you are somebody who can dip a glitter nail into a jar of clear and not transfer a single piece of glitter, then I would like to meet you, because clearly you have superhuman powers. Now if you see me keep going back over and over again to my base coat, that's because I'm working with a jar designated for glitter. The base coat, and that's getting low, so I'm trying to make sure I get enough base coat here. But on this, I do like to take a little bit more time and make sure that I'm really getting into the nooks and crannies of the glitter, because that's just going to help make everything smooth. It's not so much a cloudy technique or avoiding spots technique, it's just I want a smooth nail, so I try to make sure I get in really good with the base coat in those nooks and crannies where that glitter may be. And just like before, you can see that already on the nail that I have dipped, it's already clearing up, and you can almost see right through it again just after I've dipped it. So that is a good sign that I applied enough base coat and that I didn't leave it in the clear for too long. Once again, I'm checking to make sure these are completely dry before I go in and scrub off the excess. And then the only difference that I will do with the glitter nails that I did not do with the solids is I'll do my little baggy trick just to make sure that everything is nice and flat. Although this glitter was pretty flat as is, but I still am going to go ahead and do that. So I'll show you that, and then that will get us completed for the solids and the glitters. If you missed the first video in this series, it was all about chunky glitters, and I demoed this process in there. So if you want more of an in-depth look at what I'm doing here, I will have it linked for you in the cards. But again, that was the first video in this little series that we got going on here. So I just activate and then press down with a baggie once it's still kind of semi-soft, just to make sure I get everything nice and flat. Alright, so we're all finished. So as you can see, everything looks nice and clear, looks beautiful. So we're ready to do a little bit of filing and buffing. Shouldn't take much, so I'm going to jump off camera real quick and do that, and I'll be right back. Alright, so everything cleaned up beautifully, so I'm just wiping these down with alcohol. And you may notice sometimes when you do this, it leaves kind of like a white looking film on the top of the dip nail. Don't worry, that's going to go away with the top coat. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and finish with my gel base and gel top coat. But if you prefer to use your dip base and top coat, then I would go ahead and reactivate and go on with your top coat, and you'll be all done. Okay guys, so here's the finished look all top coated, and don't they look gorgeous? And I promise, if you see any specks on here, I tried so hard to get all the lint and the dust away from me and try to get all the hairs to not stick to me, and then I tried to wipe it with alcohol and it made the top coat look streaky. So you're just gonna have to wait for the photos at the end, but trust me when I say, if you see anything on this nail, it is not the clear dip powder, it is some kind of lint or some streaking from the alcohol cleanup. But otherwise, I'm hoping you can see just how nice and crystal clear these look. All right, so I'm finishing up here with my Scales of a Mermaid cuticle oil and just peachy biatch. It actually says the other word, not biatch, but I'm practicing for when I get monetized to not say things in there that will get me demonetized. So anyway, I just can't say enough good things about this company. The oils, the quality of the oils are just gorgeous and the scents are incredible. They've just really stolen my heart. And as you can see, I'm having a hard time using any other cuticle oils but theirs. And not just that, I recently discovered their body oils and they are amazing also. Not greasy at all, super hydrating, and makes you feel silky smooth. So if you missed my recent announcement on Facebook, I did tell you that I am serving as their ambassador just for the month. So until April 22nd, I will be the Scales of a Mermaid monthly ambassador. So I do have a discount for you to use until April 22nd, and that is Carrie10. And that will get you 10% off your Scales purchase. So guys, you really have to try them out. And I'm not trying to upsell you on them because I'm a monthly ambassador. I asked to be their monthly ambassador because I love their products. So that should really tell you something. All right, so back to these crystal clear nails. I'm hoping you're beginning to see that just by changing up your technique a little bit, you can definitely get rid of any of those issues that you're having with your clear dip powder. And clear dip powder is actually a wonderful addition to your dip nail routine. It's not the enemy. It's not. So I hope this video gave you some ideas on how to troubleshoot any issues you may be having with your clear dip powder. But if you're having any other questions or any other concerns about using clear, make sure you leave them in the comments down below. And also, if you have any other potential problems that you want to see addressed in this series, make sure you drop them in the comment box down below, because I'm making this series to help with common issues. And sometimes when you've been doing it for a while, it's hard to remember what all of those are. Okay guys, so that's going to complete this video. So I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, it would help me out so much if you would give me a thumbs up down below. And while you're there, if you have not subscribed already, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. And don't forget that notification bell. We got new content coming every Tuesday and Friday at 2 p.m. Central. So as always guys, thank you so much for being here. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
You don't wanna be friends, I guess not. Baby, no, I don't wanna go. You know how much I hate sleeping alone. I can never make it on my own.
Guys, I'm out of breath. I just want to show you something, that Charlie is not only a dog and a family member, he's a personal trainer. Whenever I'm working out, he likes to grab one of his toys. Then he likes to come stand right in front of me while I'm working out. So he keeps me on my toes, like literally, because of course I don't want to step on him. But I think it's kind of fun. He's kind of like become my little personal trainer, my coach, right, bub?
Right? So everybody work out. Be healthy.